It's that time again for reviews. And in this episode of reviews, we are going to be reviewing my realistic 12140. You know our usual stuff where I gotta go through the features, give my opinion, and then give the final rating at the end. So obviously number one thing is the feature. Well, it's obviously a radio. It's got 3 channels. You got channel 1, or A, as it would technically be in these old radios. Alright, I'm gonna go and extend the antenna real quick. Alright, you can't really hear much out of it, but that's channel 1. And then channel B, which is channel 4 in like modern day.
Was northeast at 5 miles an hour. The pressure was 30.43.
You got your volume switch on the side. And then you got channel C, or channel 7. Alright, and you're getting a bleed in right there. This radio also has a siren. I'm going to put the antenna back down. This radio has alert. It's weather alert though, so meaning it only goes off for weather alerts and or tests. So I'm going to put that back on channel 2. Oh, another thing about this radio. It actually, see, this says alert lock. What that does, see if I turn it on. We'll go over that later. This switch up here says, hang on a second. Focus real quick. Focus. It says antenna, and it says rod and line. What it means is that this is the rod antenna, and then line, you would like unscrew, I think, this screw right here, and then attach like a wire, like a pigtail antenna. Which means you're not going to get as good of a range, but it's like in case like the main antenna fails, or like you need to replace it. But since this radio is very old, they don't make these anymore, obviously. Alright, now this radio does have a siren. We all know what it sounds like. Hold on. Alright, sounds like this. And you see it blinks after it's done. Now, since this is an old radio, it's only 1050 hertz activation, no same. Oh, and a little something to note about the volume switch. You can turn the radio off.
Winds around 10 miles an hour.
Alright, now I'm going to demonstrate what alert lock does. You just flip it on. Here's what it does. Yeah, it just won't turn off. So I keep that off. So I can do like. Yeah, you can do that too. If you hold on test and alert, then hold on weather, it cancels it. Here's another thing you can do too. Yeah. So my opinions about the realistic 12. Well, hold on. So my opinions about the realistic 12-140. It's a pretty good little vintage radio. You know, it looks pretty well. The thing about these older radios is that they were kind of styled after like old alarm clocks. So the wood grain. There's a sticker on here that says simulated walnut grain finish. So yeah, it's got that old aesthetic while still remaining relatively inexpensive. These radios, I mean, I got this at a pawn shop on Black Friday, so it was like reduced. Hang on, these buttons are a little sensitive. So yeah, there's the back. Looks like these are for like where it sits on like whatever you have it on. So again, my opinions of this radio. This is a nice little vintage radio. It's not too loud. It may seem loud, but it's not that loud. And the antenna, it's actually a pretty decent length for what it is. Again, let me extend the antenna. It's a decent length. See, look, it's not the shortest antenna. Right. And another complaint about the antenna is that it can only move from side to side and up and down. You cannot move it back and forth without bending it. So yeah, my opinions on this radio. It's not the worst, but certainly not the best either. It's good. So that means the final score of this thing would be like a 5 out of 10. If you can find one of these things, I say get it, because it looks it's good. It gets the job done. But however, I'd only say the only thing I have to say is you gotta make sure you have one of these channels. You have to make sure you have in these frequencies. And I'm in it. You can only have 162.400, 475, and 55. Oh, I just noticed that. So yeah, and it does have a battery, since it's an old radio. It runs off of a 9-volt. Like every vintage radio ever. And also something to note about the cord, it's hardwired, meaning that it looks a lot different. Hang on. This is what the end of it looks like. Yeah, it looks like something used. So again, I give this radio a 5 out of 10. It's good for what it is, but like I would say you should probably have this, kind of like throw like an old radio in your collection. And that's the review of my realistic 12-140.